Let's quickly do an exercise. I'm going to test you on how much you've been paying attention during this election. You have 5 people: Clinton, Sanders, Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. I'll show you a picture with 5 tools. Your job is to match each person to one of those tools. You have 10 seconds. Ready? Now there are 120 possible combinations, but which tool did you choose to be Donald Trump? If you paid attention, you chose the big tool. You're probably surprised about how such a divisive person could possibly win. After you watch this video, you'll find out why people are Trump supporters, and it really isn't what you think. After that, you'll find out how Clinton can save herself from defeat. Let me ask you a question. Why did you choose the big tool?
We have to be much tougher. We have to be much stronger than we've been.
Trump has branded himself as the tough guy.
I hope you go right out and buy my book, Time to Get Tough, Making America #1 Again.
He's convinced you that he's the one and the only one who can solve problems.
If we had the right people, we could solve the ISIS problem and we could solve the Iran problem.
Donald Trump is the dominant personality, but to understand everything, watch the other video. In the next 10 minutes, I'll turn you from being a hater to a person who can make an educated decision on Trump. Here we go. What do you hate about Trump the most?
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best.
Trump is racist. Republicans, Democrats, liberals, the media, everyone has called him a racist.
If you take 1 or 2 or 3 people from a community of 11 million who are horrible people and use them to define 11 million people, there's a word for that. It's called scapegoating. It's called racism.
But did Trump ever say that all Mexicans are rapists? No. Here's what he actually said. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing these problems to us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards and they tell us what we're getting. Trump is talking about the problem in our country, illegal immigration, which after all is illegal. He's saying that a small number of these people have problems, but the problem is that we don't even know who these people are.
There's something going on and it's bad. Bomb, 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 bomb. We have to find out what's going on.
Now CBS News reports, Trump defends calling Mexican immigrants rapists. Not true. The Guardian says Trump claims that Mexican immigrants are responsible for a large number of rapes in the U.S. Trump never said that. What about the time he talked about John McCain?
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured.
You probably know what happened afterwards, but what's Trump really saying?
He's a war hero because he was captured.
He's asking, why are only those who are captured called heroes?
People that fought hard and weren't captured and went through a lot, they get no credit. Nobody even talks about them. They're like forgotten.
Trump was taken out of context.
The insults he's directed at a genuine war hero.
News media takes 2 words and blows it up.
I said he is a hero, but you know, people choose little selective like you try to do.
They don't even try to understand what he's saying, so everything you know about Trump,
But referring to people as rapists,
you're wrong.
And you know they all want us to do badly, okay, because the press is unbelievably dishonest.
5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy.
There are so many more examples, so click on the first link in the description. I know what you're thinking. Trump might not be wrong, but he sure exaggerates a lot. You're right. Trump exaggerates everything.
When you look at our borders, they're like Swiss cheese. Everybody pours in.
You just pointed out Trump's biggest strength, negotiation.
Trump's a very smart guy, but primarily he sees everything in life through the prism of closing a deal.
Have you read Trump's book? His entire book is about negotiation.
Everybody said it was going to be 3 hours, 3.5, including them, and in about 2 minutes I renegotiated it down to 2 hours so we can get the hell out of here.
Trump is the very best negotiator in the world.
So breaking news here, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says he has a net worth of more than $10 billion.
$10 billion. And they've written it in all caps, so it must be true.
Obviously, this is not true. It was not meant to be true. It was meant to be the starting point for negotiation.
A book once suggested that Trump might be worth a mere $150 to $250 million.
The negotiation has begun.
I've made over $8 billion.
Our valuation puts the Donald at $2.9 billion.
We came out with the number $4.5 billion. The big difference is how you value his brand. That, yeah, your name may have value, but the key thing is how do you monetize it? When you monetize it, we count it.
You might think this is a silly way to figure out a simple number.
If you understand that about Donald Trump, then very little of what's been going on should be that surprising.
But in Trump's weird and screwed up mindset, anything and everything can be negotiated.
Anytime he estimates his own net worth, he adds in this humongous figure for goodwill and branding. He says the Trump brand is worth X many billions.
You see, a person's worth is not so simple. Here's how you figure it out.
What you do is you think about a garage sale. If you were having a garage sale and selling everything you own, how much could you get in cash?
Scary, isn't it?
That's kind of a scary thought.
Negotiation is everywhere when you look for it.
I have many friends that are Muslims, and I will tell you, they are so happy that I did this.
Banning all Muslims is so insane of an idea that some people think that he really means it.
It's about time that somebody spoke up as to radicalism.
They don't support stopping all Muslims.
They just like the idea that somebody's talking about it. You know, nobody talks about it. It's not politically correct.
His idea only makes sense if you see it as the starting point for his negotiations.
There is a radical Islamic terrorism problem that, you know, our president doesn't even want to talk about.
Remember I asked you what you hate about Trump the most? It's his lack of intellectualism.
Facts, evidence, reason, these are good things.
What he says here is not backed by research.
Because they may not care much about their lives, but they do care, believe it or not, about their families' lives.
You hate him because the thousands of hours of research and established knowledge he throws out the window and bases his policies on what he believes at a certain moment.
So I said, yes, I would bring back waterboarding, and I'd make it a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
Trump is using a negotiation-based approach. All the other 19 candidates are running on policy or on values. If you're watching this, you've probably supported Sanders at one point.
Our country today faces a series of unprecedented crises.
Sanders has been known to be very consistent. This was him 28 years ago.
You would be amazed, and I think the people would be amazed, at how little real support there is there for Democrats and Republicans.
But this was Trump when he was 41 years old.
If you look at what certain countries are doing to this country, such as Japan, I mean, they've totally taken advantage of the country.
Trump has said the exact same things for 28 years.
I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade.
I'm not sure that you want to see the United States become a winner. Do you want to see the United States become a winner, David? Huh?
Sanders and Trump have more in common than you think. Here are two quotes on trade, and you have to tell me which one is said by who. Clinton supported virtually every one of the disastrous trade agreements. We must end our disastrous trade policies, which enable corporations to shut down plants in this country and move to China. NAFTA has been a disaster for the whole United States. We have lost so many companies and so many jobs. Clinton is the one who approved NAFTA. The first quote was said by Sanders. The second was said by Trump. Both have the same message. Our economy is screwed up because of stupid politicians and disastrous trade policies.
I'll tell you, there's one thing that we're very similar on. He knows that our country is being ripped off big league on trade.
Their only difference is how they want to fix their country. One uses policy and the other uses negotiation.
His complete ignoring of facts are actually part of the persuasion because he doesn't give you targets, he doesn't give you details of his policies.
Sometimes Trump can say one thing.
I have seen what's going on, and I don't know how people make it on $7.25. I would like to see an increase of some magnitude.
And he will make it look like he fights for the little guy who's having problems making ends meet.
It's not about facts, it's about focus and attention.
But Trump can say the opposite.
I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is.
So do not raise the minimum wage.
I would not raise the minimum.
Trump is using an extremely powerful tool called framing.
We cannot do this if we are going to compete with the rest of the world. We just can't do it.
He's framed each and every policy so that he comes out on top.
I don't think not showing up at the debate tomorrow night is good for America.
It's for our vets, and you're going to like it because we raised over $5 million in one day. Over $5 million.
So why give a damn about policy at all?
America First will be the major and overriding theme of my administration.
What matters is the perception of your policies.
When it comes to American citizens, he's pretty consistent about favoring them.
I will seek a foreign policy that all Americans, whatever their party, can support.
Being not so favorable to anybody who's not a legal citizen.
Both our friends and our enemies put their countries above ours. And we, while being fair to them, must start doing the same.
I want to talk about Trump now, okay? And why did people take so much offense at his talking about America first?
Conservatives, paleo, old-fashioned conservatives, are not necessarily neocons and vice versa. And if you want to hear classic neoconservative doxy, listen for words and phrases like, he's evil, the people yearn for freedom, democracy.
Decrease its role in NATO?
Not decrease its role, but certainly decrease the kind of spending. We are spending a tremendous amount in NATO.
Because there's a very strong establishment, especially the old Bush regime and the neoconservatives.
So what makes a good president? Is it intelligence, military experience, gender? Is it policy?
Donald Trump doesn't like to be questioned on the issue.
Trump is weak on policy. If President Obama had lived up to his promises, things would look very different right now.
If Clinton will be another Obama administration.
I think the tax proposals Hillary's proposing are closer to what the Obama administration has proposed.
Then why hasn't Obama passed any of Clinton's campaign promises in his 8 years?
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the wealthy pay for debt-free tuition, for child care, for paid family leave.
It's much easier to promise something than to actually deliver something.
Being president is not making sure that schedules are being run properly or the paperwork is being shuffled effectively. It involves having a vision for where the country needs to go.
We are going to win, win, win. We're going to win so much. You are going to be so proud of your country again.
And being able to spark the kind of debate.
You see Carrier moving down, they're moving down to Mexico, Nabisco is moving. The whole thing is crazy what's going on with Mexico.
When we have meetings with other leaders.
I would say China #1.
With big oil.
I would say OPEC probably number 2.
We need the best person on our side.
You don't start behaving. 25% tax on every item you sell in this country.
Remember this guy? He was the mayor of the most immigrant-friendly city in North America. Like Trump, he threw out the window all science, research, and intellectualism.
When I drive downtown every day, there's no secret. Okay, the cyclists are a pain in the ass to the motorists.
But people also say he's the best mayor the city ever had.
I will retract the word ass.
We don't know how else to show except showing it with the community, and we are here for the community because we want to see the love for the community.
If Toronto could love a crack-smoking maniac after 4 years, America will certainly love Trump. What's something everybody loves about Trump?
I don't frankly have time for total political correctness.
Trump is offensive, controversial, and he knows it.
How many hours of free media does CNN and Fox and every other station, you let him call in and for a year?
Well, I got to say,
$2 billion
we've asked you for interviews pretty much every day, and you've declined every offer.
In his book, he said, "One thing I've learned about the press is that they're always hungry for a good story, and the more sensational, the better. The point is that if you're a little different or a little outrageous, or if you do things that are bold or controversial, the press is going to write about you."
The politicians are going to destroy this country. They're weak and they're ineffective, and they're controlled by the lobbyists of the special interests.
Trump is fighting against the whole system. He's killing political correctness. He's killing the corrupted system where money buys influence.
Super PACs are a disaster. They're a scam. They cause dishonesty. And you better get rid of them because they are causing a lot of bad decisions to be made by some very good people. And I'm not blaming these folks, but I guess I could.
He is bringing back politics to us, the people.
They didn't give me anything, folks, okay? I'm working for you.
So it would be hypocrisy if he was politically correct.
Our Republican system is absolutely rigged. It's a phony deal.
So if you like the current system of political correctness,
that's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
And where money can buy influence.
They don't want me to self-fund my campaign. They don't want it because you know what? They're all controlled by their special interests.
Then Hillary is your choice. But if you're fed up with Washington because it can't get anything done and you want your voice to be heard again, then Trump is your guy.
Our country has tremendous potential. Let's make America great again.
But let's say you're in the first group. You absolutely love Hillary Clinton.
I want Hillary to win. Let's go Hillary.
Good news. Right now you're still tied with Trump and you still have a good base of support. The first thing you have to do is to stop everything you're doing right now because it's not working.
We're going to make a great country again. We're going to start winning again.
Let's take a look at your most recent ads.
He's encouraging violence and chaos.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously.
He wants to round up millions of Latino immigrants and kick them out.
You're going to have a deportation force.
He wants to ban all Muslims from the United States.
Either you're too stupid to know what he's really saying, or you're purposely bending the truth to get stupid people to vote for you.
Crooked Hillary, folks.
You're promoting hate, and you're promoting the exact thing you're campaigning against.
That's why the stakes in this election couldn't be higher.
So stop. Stop, because even though it works on politicians, it won't work on Trump. People will see through it way too easily.
Why was Romney so dishonest about his plan?
Even worse, you turn him into the underdog.
And already a hefty chunk of the media is treating his candidacy as a joke.
We love underdogs, and we root for them. Every time an underdog beats a favorite, they surprise you.
This obviously was a bad week for Donald Trump, and it was his fault. But the press is so excited about it. Boy, they hate him. Do you know any reporter who would consider voting for him?
Then it becomes a really big deal.
So for the GOP establishment, the unthinkable has happened. Trump is now the undisputed frontrunner for the Republican nomination for president, which has everyone asking the same question.
Can Donald Trump be stopped?
Remember? Back when it was a joke?
So stop. First thing you have to do is fight back.
They control Crooked Hillary.
That's the new nickname, Crooked Hillary. Your response?
I don't respond to Donald Trump and his string of insults.
No, you have to respond. Trump is attacking you, and if you don't...
In just 1 month, Hillary Clinton's double-digit lead over Donald Trump is now all but evaporated.
Remember Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister?
Justin Trudeau. He's just not ready.
Here's what he did to respond.
Stephen Harper says I'm not ready. I'll tell you what I'm not ready for. I'm not ready to stand by as our economy slides into recession.
Next, you have to counterattack.
Which is not to say that there are not some people crossing the border where a wall would be. But would a wall really stop them?
You can talk about racism and immigrants.
Researchers consistently find that immigrants are less, not more, crime-prone than their native-born counterparts.
But this will only make people vote for Trump. Raise the problem.
I will fight for comprehensive immigration reform.
And Trump is the only person with a solution.
If it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration.
Trump controls the chessboard.
I love Hispanics. I love Hispanics.
Remember, we're facing the best persuader in history.
We will win, and we will win, and we will win.
Trump is very good, but he's not perfect.
After Donald Trump's double-digit loss to Ted Cruz in Wisconsin, Trump planning to shift gears in the coming weeks.
He lost because voters didn't trust him.
The only real objection that they have is that they don't trust you guys. And why should they trust you? I mean, look at you. You're a bunch of fucking sleazy salesmen, right?
Your best attack is to undermine his credibility.
Think of Donald Trump's personal qualities. The bullying, the greed, the
the showing off.
You ran up mountains of debt as well as losses using other people's money, and you were forced to file for bankruptcy not once,
I never filed
not
for
twice,
bankruptcy.
4 times.
There's plenty of evidence that Mr. Trump is a con man, a fake.
Why should we trust you
Mr.
to
I'll
manage
tell
the
you why. It's very
finances
simple.
of this nation
I tell you.
any differently
I
than you
was
manage
running-
the finances
Charlie,
of your casino?
Dishonesty is Donald Trump's hallmark.
Next, Clinton has to frame the debate in her favor. What's her biggest strength?
2/3 of minimum wage workers are women.
If you find this hard, it's not your fault. It's not because she doesn't have any strengths.
A woman running to be the first woman president.
It's because she hasn't told you what her strengths are.
I think I have the right combination of what the country needs.
She has to pick one positive thing to be your strength.
I can't think of anything more of an outsider than electing the first woman president.
No, it's not because you're a woman. It's because you have the experience.
Osama bin Laden is dead.
I think it's important to remember that the Arab Spring really started in Tunisia.
Another of her strengths is that she's really principled.
We need steady, strong, smart minds and hands.
Let's call her steady-handed Clinton.
We need steady hands.
She has to frame the debate. Do we want chaos?
He's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president.
Aaron, I've just never seen anything like this. This place has just erupted.
Or do we want steady hands?
We need someone with a steady hand.
Look at those hands. I have the steadiest hands. Look at those hands.
She must create a frame for how people see him. The last step is to have a clear message that everybody can agree with.
We are going to make America so great again.
A lot of people are very angry.
Is to move production from our facility in Indianapolis to Monterrey, Mexico.
What's something that everybody hates?
Corporate greed is destroying the middle class.
Everybody hates corporate greed.
Trump Plaza Casino Hotel gave layoff notices to about 1,000 employees Monday.
When she's president, Clinton will fight against big corporations.
Talk about corporate greed.
After all, not only does their opponent own a big corporation,
My whole life I've been greedy. I've grabbed all the money I could get. I'm so greedy.
he helps employ people in China.
Ties are made in where? China? Ties are made in China.
And you can't really trust him.
What little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers.
Trump will try his hardest to reframe the debate, and this election will come down to who can control the frame. If Trump succeeds, the election will be about trade and how America needs a tough negotiator.
The Iranians are very good negotiators.
If Clinton succeeds, this election will be about corporate greed.
Somebody has got to tell Wall Street and corporate America that their greed is destroying our economy.
And how America needs a person with experience to deal with it.
Do you want someone who will learn on the job, and that has pluses and minuses? Or do you want someone who has experience both at home and abroad and will bring that experience to the Oval Office on day one?
Thanks for watching. There's a lot of content about Trump on the internet, but in the description below, you'll find the very best. Subscribe if you want to watch more videos about political campaigns. But now click here and watch me break down Trump's persuasion skills.